What's up, guys? Bitcoin just hit a new all-time high. Congratulations if you've been hodling. I want to share what I think is going to happen for the rest of the year and the catalysts that will make that happen. So right now, Bitcoin $125,000 new all-time high. Other coins are lagging. For example, ETH is lagging. It hit a new all-time high in August of around $4,900. We have not crossed that $5,000 price point yet. So I'm going to talk about some altcoins, let you guys know what I'm seeing, including some charts comparing Bitcoin to gold, which I think is very interesting. And a couple stories here, one with Jack Mallers sharing that Bitcoin can easily 100 to 200x from here. And then we have Tom Lee saying Bitcoin can get to 200K by the year end. But first, right here, they don't even know we hit another all-time high, right? So if you are around your normie friends, those who are not in crypto, they have no idea. They have no idea that Bitcoin just hit a new all-time high. So real quick, before I dive into all of that info, we got a couple charts I want to go over from Into the Cryptoverse. Link below if you want access to these charts with a 10% discount. So right here, this is Bitcoin's market cycle, bottom ROI. So how well has Bitcoin performed since the very, very bottom, way back November 2022 for this current cycle when we hit the bottom. So we can see that we are nowhere close to the previous two cycles in terms of how well Bitcoin has done. So Bitcoin has done just under an 8x, 7.76x. The cycle that ended in 2021, Bitcoin did a 21x, and then in 2017, it did a 92x. Some people will point to what's called diminishing returns and say, well, it's impossible for Bitcoin to perform as well as it did in previous years because the market cap is just so big. Now, I get this idea, but this time is different. There are digital asset treasuries like Strategy buying up coins. There are institutions coming in. Vanguard is going to be promoting it to their clientele. Same with Fidelity, same with BlackRock. A lot of changes here. But again, we are nowhere close to where we were at the end of the last cycle, where Bitcoin did a 21x. We are a third of that at around a 7x. So I wanted to start out with that, and then I want to head to two other charts. But first, I want to talk about this story right here from Tom Lee and also from Jack Mallers. So just to summarize Tom Lee's video here, talking with Andrew Ross Sorkin over on CNBC, Tom thinks that Bitcoin can get to 200K. He thinks that we can get to 200K for a couple of reasons. The first, Q4, historically, does really well, and Q4 started October 1st, like a lot of you guys know. And we're seeing the Fed cut rates into an incredible quarter. Q4 averages 79% for Bitcoin and 22% for ETH. So it averages really high. So he's like, you know what? We are going to go higher. And Jack Mahler right here, I summarized it. He says, Bitcoin can easily hit 150K, but if it hits 150K, it's going to go a lot higher. So a lot of people think that once Bitcoin hits 200K, it's done. Or once it hits $500,000, it's done. Or $1 million, then it's done. Well, no. What Jack and others talk about is that once Bitcoin gets larger and larger, it begins to gobble up different asset classes and different total addressable markets. Right here it says the global savings rate, and this is what Jack talks about, is around $400 to $500 trillion. Bitcoin, as of this video, is around $2.4 trillion. So a 10x in Bitcoin's price would be around a 5% share of all the global savings, and full monetization, meaning it gobbling up everything. So all the money that's being saved in real estate, art, savings accounts, bonds, etc., that could be a 100 to 200x. And that takes me to this chart right here. Take a look at Bitcoin versus gold. So I like this chart because it shows that compared to gold, Bitcoin isn't even at an all-time high. It hit the all-time high December of 2024, so end of last year. Essentially, this shows a chart of when Bitcoin is outperforming gold. So gold is doing insanely well. So we've seen a decline from December of last year, but we have begun to come up as Bitcoin goes up. But gold has been doing unbelievably well. And gold and Bitcoin, right? They are very similar. Every time I open this chart, I gotta make it a little bit higher because gold keeps putting in new all-time highs. Really incredible what gold is doing. So taking a look at Bitcoin, it's at 124, 125K right now. It did wick all the way up to 125.8 a little bit ago. But I mean, we've seen it do incredible things. Just for today, it is up quite a lot. It was at 122, broke 125. So would I be going long here for Bitcoin? Not really, and I'll show you why. So right here, there is a lot of long liquidation leverage piling up for Bitcoin. And this is what always happens, right? Bitcoin breaks new all-time highs, and then everybody thinks it's going to go higher and higher and higher, which may be, but historically, when the chart looks really lopsided like this, for example, there's a lot more longs than shorts, it usually will come back to equilibrium. And what happens is we see a little bit of a dip in order to wipe out some of this leverage. So if Bitcoin drops down to 119K, you got around $1 billion that will be liquidated. And often that happens. So right now, I would not be piling on a lot of leverage at the moment. I would just wait and see what happens going forward. Taking a look at Ethereum. Ethereum, I think, will break its new all-time high pretty quickly, if I had to guess. And that 5K mark is a big psychological number for Ethereum that when that breaks, when Ethereum breaks 5K, I think we are definitely off to the races. I think that Solana will then follow, and then other large layer ones will also follow as well. And taking a look at Solana, we are still pretty far away from an all-time high, around $60 or so. Right here over on BitUnix, if you want to grab some first-time deposits, you can absolutely do so here. If you deposit $2,000, you're going to get $400, 400 USDT as a bonus. You can do so using my link below. Awesome place to trade, and that's where I'm showing you these charts here. So realistically, ETH breaking 5K is the next milestone I am looking at. Then we are going to look at, again, other coins to break their previous all-time highs. XRP can easily break $4. We are going to get BNB, even though it's hitting new all-time highs quite literally right now. I could see this breaking $1,500. BNB is on a tear, doing very, very well. Taking a look right here, Bitcoin logarithmic regression bands over on Into the Cryptoverse. We can see right here that we are still well below the top green line. So in terms of bubble territory for Bitcoin, we're not really there, right? Per this chart. In 2013, we hit the top red line. In 2017, we hit the top red line. In 2021, we touched the bottom red line. So right now, for Bitcoin hitting the bottom red line, would put Bitcoin at $286,000. And this is all, again, in the range of where we were in the previous two cycles. So again, 2021, we hit this bottom red line one time, actually a few times, and then almost a second time in November, but we got pretty close. We haven't even broke through the top green line in this cycle yet. So I still think there's a long way to go here. And then right here, we got new YouTube views, okay? Super low, 867,000 views. So for comparison, end of 2024, we were seeing over 2 million views, so double. We hit a big spike March of 2025, March of this year, but we are way far away from where we were even end of 2024. And this is what gives me a lot of confidence, actually. Some people are like, oh, this is actually not a good sign because retail isn't here. Well, I look at it like, okay, Bitcoin just broke a new all-time high and nobody cares. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody gives a crap, right? That meme of you're at the party and nobody other than you knows that Bitcoin just broke its all-time high. No one cares. The media isn't talking about it. We're not seeing episodes of sitcoms talk about Bitcoin. Now, some people could say, well, it's because Bitcoin and crypto is already super mainstream. Everybody already knows about it. Maybe. I disagree. I think that retail will be coming back. I think that when the views for YouTube get as high as they were, at least this year in March, but ideally getting back to where we were in 2021, where we had over 4 million views a day. So that would be 4x the views. I think that is when we start to see, all right, we may be getting a little hot for this cycle. I just think there's too much going on right now regarding everything I talked about in my video yesterday. Cutting rates, into a really, really great economy. Historically, what happens when you cut rates when we're very close to a new all-time high for the S&P, which is literally what we're doing now. The market is essentially always up a year later, and how that will affect crypto as well. I think crypto will be up too. And then we got next year, Jerome Powell is out, and Trump is probably going to place someone who's going to massively cut rates next year. Whether or not this will just extend the bubble and then we'll see an enormous crash is to be determined. But in the meantime, I think we are still going higher, and I think there's still a long way to go. So that's how I see the next couple months and possibly going into 2026 going is we see new all-time highs for big layer ones, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and then we begin to see other coins hit new all-time highs too. And then finally, we start overhearing conversations in Starbucks about people buying meme coins. I remember so vividly in 2021, I was in a hotel lobby. Basically, I live in hotels. So I was in some hotel lobby. I think I was in Las Vegas. And I remember people talking about, I think it was like SHIB, or it could have been Doge. But I just remember overhearing a group of people talk about them buying meme coins in the lobby. And, the next time I hear that, I will let you guys know. But that's something to be aware of when Uber drivers, when strangers talk about it. And that is a huge top sign. And I saw that December of last year, and I was like, guys, we are getting very, very frothy, and we were very, very frothy. So I don't see that yet, but I'll make sure to let you guys know when I do. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel to catch these videos. And also, if you're a trader, check out BitUnix using my link below. Hope y'all are well. Till next time, talk with you soon, and bye for now.